ever seen a judge sprinting down a courthouse hallway? What lengths will people go to for freedom? Dive into the most jaw-dropping courtroom escapes ever captured on camera. From daring jumps to unexpected chases, these stories redefine the art of breaking free. Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to catch all the wild courtroom drama in our top 5 escapes. 5. Callum Fittner's friend aids escape. In Bradford Crown Court in the UK, Callum Fittner was there to support his 17-year-old friend, who was about to be sentenced for the theft of a mobile phone. The teenager was sentenced to 21 weeks in custody, a decision that prompted a sudden and desperate escape attempt. The security footage shows the moment when Fittner, standing outside the courtroom, decided to help his friend. He pressed the button for an automatic door, allowing the teenager to burst through and make a run for it. What followed was a chaotic chase, as security officers rushed after the fleeing teen. The teenager made it out of the courthouse and disappeared into the streets, leaving the security officers behind. Fittner, meanwhile, took a different route out of the building. Unlike his friend, who was running for his freedom, Fittner walked out casually, hopping down the steps as if nothing had happened. But the escape wasn't as successful as it first appeared. The teenager was on the run for 2 days before being arrested. His actions during the escape added 6 more months to his sentence. As for Fittner, his involvement in the escape didn't go unnoticed. He pleaded guilty to aiding and abetting his friend's escape and was sentenced to 3 months in jail. The footage from Bradford Crown Court serves as a reminder of the risks involved in trying to help someone evade justice and the consequences that follow. 4. Joel Delgado's wheelchair ruse.
Hey, you see a shoe back there? Where is it?
Joel Delgado's wheelchair ruse. Joel Delgado, facing multiple charges including residential burglary and theft of services, found himself in a unique situation at the Pulaski County Courthouse in Little Rock, Arkansas. Delgado was brought into court in a wheelchair, claiming to be injured. His neck brace and the wheelchair added to the appearance that he was unable to walk. However, it quickly became clear that Delgado had other plans. As the sheriff's deputy escorted Delgado into the courthouse, the two stopped just steps before the entrance when Delgado's shoe came off. The deputy asked, "Hey, you see a shoe back there?" This simple question marked the beginning of Delgado's escape. Using the lost shoe as a distraction, Delgado suddenly sprang into action. Despite the neck brace and wheelchair, Delgado proved that he was more than capable of running. He bolted across the street and down an alley, leaving the deputy scrambling to catch up. The security cameras captured the moment as the deputy searched through the streets, trying to find the fleeing suspect. "The wheelchair dude got up and ran," the deputy exclaimed in disbelief to a bystander, summing up the shock of the moment. Delgado's escape didn't last long though. After a few hours on the run, he was apprehended and brought back into custody, but his brief taste of freedom came at a cost. Delgado now faces an additional charge of third-degree escape on top of his original charges. Despite his insistence that he was injured and unable to walk, the security footage told a different story. Delgado has pleaded not guilty to all charges against him, but his attempt to evade justice only added to the seriousness of his situation. 3. Tanner Jacobson and Cody Howards courthouse dash-in.
One was in on the first appearance on a new charge, and the other one was in on for failure to appear, so we were setting conditions of release. But
we were sitting there on the benches together, and He's like, "I'm gonna run."
Chehalis, Washington, 2 prisoners seized a rare opportunity to escape during a court appearance. Tanner Jacobson and Cody Howard, both in custody for separate charges, appeared before Judge R.W. Buzzard on the 3rd floor of the Lewis County Courthouse. Jacobson faced charges of reckless driving and driving with a suspended license, while Howard was in court for second-degree burglary, first-degree trafficking in stolen property, and other offenses. As the 2 men stood handcuffed in their prison uniforms, they noticed something unusual. There were no deputies present in the courtroom. Sensing an opportunity, Howard made the first move, quickly followed by Jacobson. The 2 bolted out of the courtroom, leaving everyone in shock. What happened next was even more surprising. Judge Buzzard, without a second thought, ripped off his robe and chased after the escapees. The security cameras captured the intense pursuit as the judge raced down the hallway and into the stairwell, chasing the prisoners who were still handcuffed and wearing sandals. The chase continued down the stairwell, with Judge Buzzard closing in on the two men. Jacobson managed to escape the courthouse, but his freedom was short-lived. He was captured a few blocks away. Reflecting on his failed escape, Jacobson later admitted, "I only got like 4 blocks, and then I stopped on my own. I'm like, what am I doing? What did I just do?" He realized that his actions had only worsened his situation. Meanwhile, Howard wasn't as fortunate. Judge Buzzard, showing incredible determination, caught up with him and successfully apprehended him. Both men were charged with second-degree escape. Jacobson received a sentence of 1 year and 1 day, while Howard was sentenced to just over 3 years behind bars. 2. Jason Cordero's attempt to outrun the law.
It turned out to be a crime of opportunity. A Pontiac man gets sentenced and notices for just a moment there isn't anyone there to take him to jail, so he makes a run for it.
Jason Cordero found himself in a courtroom in Rochester Hills, Michigan, facing the consequences of his actions. Sentenced to 90 days in jail for disorderly conduct and retail fraud, Cordero was not ready to give up his freedom so easily. As he stood in the courtroom, something was noticeably missing: the court deputy who was supposed to keep an eye on him. After being sentenced, Cordero was reportedly instructed by the judge to sit down and wait. However, with no deputy immediately present, Cordero decided to take matters into his own hands. Without a second thought, he made his way to the door, walking out of the courtroom as if nothing was amiss. But the moment he stepped outside, his calm demeanor disappeared, and Cordero broke into a full sprint. The deputy who had just entered the courtroom realized what was happening and quickly followed. On the security footage, you can see Cordero dashing out the door, his legs pumping as he tried to make his escape. The deputy picked up speed, trying to catch up, but Cordero had a head start. He made it across the street with the deputies in hot pursuit, but it seemed like he might get away. However, Cordero's luck ran out. Despite his best efforts, he was recaptured just 5 to 10 minutes later in a nearby wooded area. What could have been a successful escape attempt turned into another set of charges for Cordero, including escaping lawful custody and resisting and obstructing a police officer. 1. Rashad Hawkins' desperate escape from court. Rashad Hawkins was facing serious consequences at the Meigs County Courthouse in Tennessee. After being sentenced to serve time for failing to pay child support, Hawkins knew he was about to be detained by deputies. But instead of accepting his fate, Hawkins made a daring move. As he stood on the second floor of the courthouse, security cameras captured his sudden decision to flee. Without hesitation, Hawkins leaped over the railing, dangling precariously from the second floor. For a moment, it looked as though he might fall, but Hawkins managed to pull himself up and sprinted away before anyone could react. The security footage shows a deputy witnessing the escape but choosing not to pursue him. Hawkins' legs dangled in midair for a few seconds before he regained his footing and bolted towards the exit. People on both the first and second floors of the courthouse were drawn to the commotion, but by the time they arrived, Hawkins was already gone. He disappeared so quickly that it was as if he had vanished into thin air. His escape left everyone in the courthouse stunned. For nearly 3 weeks, Hawkins was on the run, evading authorities. His desperate bid for freedom ended when he was arrested over 200 miles away from the courthouse. Hawkins' audacious escape earned him a slew of new charges, including criminal trespassing, assault on a police officer, and resisting arrest. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more wild courtroom escapes and updates.